Their growth is actually slowing significantly. So we believe the Cybertruck is...
Well, hold on, Gordon, 1 point at a time.
EVs right now are roughly 2.5% of global auto sales. So I would say the penetration has been somewhat disappointing. That's an understatement. Days before that was going to come out, the bulk of their profitability, they've never been profitable without those credit sales. And now we know that those credit sales effectively are going away. So
hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to some comments from the class clown, Mr. Humiliation Fetish himself, one of the top scoring analysts of all time on Tipranks.com. Hang on, is top scoring, the bigger the number, the better, right? Anyway, one of the most intellectually honest Tesla bears of all time, Gordon Johnson. By the way, guys, just in case you missed a very interesting exchange on Twitter recently, we heard here from Gordon Johnson saying that he was quite loud about one of their tips, which has apparently gone up. Of course, Tipranks didn't pick this up. They only track our Tesla research. Tipranks isn't a real measure of performance for what it's worth. Tipranks immediately responding back. You can see your coverage, the stock that he was talking about, as well as this, and this, not just Tesla on your profile. We don't only share one stock from each analyst, but all. If you think we missed one, please feel free to fill in those gaps and add us to your distro list. Gordon Johnson responding back. We cover 16 stocks. You have us covering just 7, and you don't capture 80% of the notes we publish even on those. Your system is deeply flawed and incorrect, period. Tipranks responding back, we have 13 stocks from just this year listed. Please feel free to add us to your distribution list if you feel any stocks may be missing. And just for those of you who aren't really sure what went down, this is a great tweet here from Brian. Keep this in mind, folks, when you consider their opinion. GLJ Research was apparently confused by the Tipranks Show More button. It seems fairly evident that Gordon Johnson was unaware that if you click Show More Ratings, you would, wait for it, see more ratings. Of course, if I was one of the worst ranked analysts of all time in the history of Tipranks.com, I may also question their methodology rather than questioning my own methodology about my stock picks. Now, with that important detour out of the way, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
Definitely want to get to the semiconductor shortage impact on this group, but first I have to talk about what you're most excited about and where you see the growth. Steve, I'll start with you. We mentioned the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Cybertruck by Tesla, the Rivian coming soon. You tell us, what are you excited about, particularly when it comes to these trucks?
Look, here's the big deal. The number one selling vehicle in the United States has been the Ford F-150 for roughly 40 years. So it's not the Honda, it's not the Toyota, it's the trucks. Tesla already has 850,000 orders for the Cybertruck. It's coming to market in Q1. Rivian's coming to market shortly, and it's going to be the big smackdown in the global auto industry. But if Tesla manages to walk away with even a quarter of that market, it could be tough times for Ford. I think they're going to do well. Rivian's interesting. I like the truck. I've seen it in person. Great specs. You got to give them credit for having Amazon, Ford, and BlackRock as investors. But what it looks like may be a $70 to $80 billion IPO when they've never produced a vehicle or put one on the road. You'd probably want to be a little bit careful about that. I think people underestimate the lead Tesla has, having delivered electric vehicles for 10 years.
Super valid points here from Steve. A couple of great ones, including the fact that Tesla has a metric ton of pre-orders for the Cybertruck, And as we know, Ford's F-150 has basically been the best-selling vehicle in the United States for 4 decades. So this is a huge potential market opportunity. And Steve also rightfully and reasonably pointing out that a Rivian IPO with a valuation of up to $80 billion, which is more than SpaceX was valued last time they raised capital, is absolutely fucking insane. I think he was a little bit gentler in his terminology, but I'm not one to mince words. Card in the corner if you haven't seen my video discussing Rivian's IPO and the absolutely insane valuation.
Well, we've seen that before where there was a lot of talk about electric vehicles and then it didn't come to fruition. And in fact, we saw some backpedaling happening. And Gordon, I know you know what I'm talking about when we saw at least one name left everybody wondering and scratching their heads. Where are your vehicles? That being said, what are you most excited about? Where do you see the best growth?
Yeah, so we just want to clarify something. EVs right now are roughly 2.5% of global auto sales. So I would say the penetration has been somewhat disappointing. That's an understatement. But when you look at the market share shifts, right? In China and in Europe, in China, Tesla's market shares went from 17% in roughly 4Q19 to roughly 10% today, 2Q21. And in Europe, their market shares dropped all the way from 22% in 3Q of 19 to roughly 7% right now. So they've seen significant market share loss. Why? The answer is because you have real competition in those markets. In the US, in 2020, their market share was roughly 79%. It's dropped all the way to 66% through the first roughly 4 quarters of this year. So even in the US, where you don't have significant penetration, they're losing market share. Again, why? Because you've had the Chevy Bolt, you've had the Mach-E. And just looking at the cars that are coming, you have the Audi e-tron, the BMW iX3, the Mercedes EQA, Volvo X40, Volkswagen ID4, clearly the Mustang Mach-E, the Nissan Ariya, the Honda Iconic 5, the Kia EV6. Clearly you have the Ford F-150. And when you think about the Honda and the Iconic cars that are coming, those cars have 800 volt technology, which means they charge faster, meaning they stress the battery less, and they last longer. Tesla's on 400 volt. So that's new technology that we think is going to be very advantageous. So if you take a step back, you look at Mercedes, they're going to have an EV in every single category of car. You look at Ford and GM, they're going to have roughly 30 EVs each next year. They'll point it, everybody else, Kia, Honda, etc. All the major automotive manufacturers, when you go into their distribution center, you're going to be able to get the EV you want and any car type you want. And in the markets where we've seen that penetration, Europe and China, Tesla has seen significant market share loss. So we think the same thing is going to happen in the US. And we think when you take a step back and look at it, EV is only 2.5% of global auto sales. You haven't seen a significant penetration. Despite that fact, Tesla's valued at nearly the entire auto industry combined. So we think over the next year, there's going to be a somewhat come to God moment, if you will, as people see Tesla lose share to some of these EV and ICE bellwether.
Gordon, if you're watching, my man, dude, you've got to get some new material. I've debunked this fallacy of losing market share 420 quadrillion times. Just in case you're new here and you haven't heard me debunk this, I'll make it really simple with a hypothetical example. Just imagine there was only one company on planet Earth producing electric vehicles. That means they have 100% market share. Then suddenly, a new company starts producing electric vehicles. What happens to that 100% market share? What automatically occurs when there's somebody else producing electric vehicles? That 100% becomes less than 100%. There's no other way around this because math. Now, here's the really tricky part and requires a little bit of thinking. Otherwise, you can be easily fooled from some of these brain-dead comments from Gordon the Genius Johnson. Is it possible for a company to be, quote, losing market share in terms of electric vehicles, yet at the same time, is it possible for them to still sell a record number of vehicles every quarter? More vehicles this quarter than last quarter, more vehicles this quarter than last quarter, and keep doing this for a long period of time? And the answer, in case you're unaware, is yes. They can both be losing market share, yet shattering their delivery and production records quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, which, spoiler alert, is exactly what Tesla is doing. The whole Tesla is losing market share fallacy is intellectual dishonesty at its finest.
I see what you're saying. I mean, the competition is stiff, and you made some very good points about all the different other competitors, which you named, and you talked about the market share loss in China, in North America, and in Europe. Steve, I think Gordon's making some great points. There are still many people who are very, very excited about Tesla. There's nothing like a Tesla. They are brand loyal. They think Tesla's a battery company, that Tesla does bring more and value going forward. Care to play the contrarian on Tesla, or do you think this is a $300 stock, not a $700 stock?
Look, I served on Tesla's board, and I will tell you flat out, Tesla stock today is nosebleedy high. But here's what Gordon didn't touch on. First, Tesla's growing 50% a year. There's no other auto company in the world that's close to that. Second, Tesla has the lowest cost for battery production than anybody else. They were the first to take battery production in-house. Third, Tesla's been profitable the last 8 quarters in a row. They know electric cars vehicle. Everybody else is playing catch up. Fourth, it's not easy to produce electric cars. It is a whole new thing, and I think you're going to see a lot of growing pains from everybody else in the market, with the one possible exception with Volkswagen that really has a global supply chain already. Tesla's got a lot going for it, and just don't forget the fact that Elon moves his companies faster than anybody else. We'll see how quickly the big guys can play.
All right, well, I think you're all making great points. And obviously Tesla is something that people know and love, but I do really, truly believe. Yeah, add one more point. I mean, because it's a vast group. I understand. Go ahead, tell us. Quickly.
There was a major misstatement made. You said you served on Tesla's board. Tesla has never made its own batteries. That's a major misconception. They buy batteries from Panasonic, LG, and CATL, the same batteries of which you can buy from everybody else. Tesla has never made their own battery. Major misconception. With respect to the Cybertruck, we believe the Cybertruck is...
Well, hold on, Gordon, 1 point at a time. Steve?
You got to give me time to rebut that. Tesla is partnered with all 4 of the top automakers, and they've begun developing their own technology, including the new 4680 technology. Tesla is not only transforming the auto industry, they're beginning to get into the battery space. So at some point in the future...
You said Steve, you used the phrase they made it in-house. The in-house phrase.
That's my point.
They're providing batteries with the other producers today, but they're developing their own form factor for the future.
This is a point that requires a lot of nuance in terms of whether or not Tesla makes their own battery cells, and also, as Steve said, they're developing their own in-house battery cell. But when somebody says their own battery, what are they talking about? Are they talking about the battery cells, or the battery modules, or the battery packs? So for those of you that don't know, Tesla today currently buys battery cells from battery cell suppliers. Then they take those cells and put them into modules and or packs, thermally manage them, integrate a lot of intellectual property. And this is why, at least one of the reasons why Tesla gets more range, more efficient vehicles than anyone else who's still able to buy those same battery cells from the same manufacturers. Their secret sauce when it comes to putting the pack together. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about Tesla's battery advantage today. But in addition to that, as we saw at Battery Investor Day, they are now currently developing their own cells as well. And soon we'll be ramping those up, putting them in their own vehicles, and then we'll no longer be reliant on other partners for battery cells, although, as Elon has said, they'll still buy as many as they can get because they're going to be cell constrained for some time.
Elon comes into new areas, but everything
another point I wanted to...
And tell me about, I'm worried about Li Auto and some of these other ones too. Gordon, you want to give me a favorite of yours as we're wrapping this up?
Well, I just say, with respect to the 4680, right, they did this big battery day where they brought patents for $3, of which their VP of engineering cited those patents on stage. And as you know, they've delayed the Cybertruck. They said they were going to announce a 500-mile Model S flat. Days before that was going to come out, they effectively canceled that, despite all the orders they had made. We think 4680 technology is years away. And to your point, he said they brought the battery in-house. That's clearly wrong. But the other thing I want to say is when you talk about their profitability, the bulk of their profitability, they've never been profitable without those credit cells. And now we know that those credit cells effectively are going away. So I think there's a problem there with respect to their profitability. We'll see how profitable they are going forward.
Okay, we didn't talk enough about Rivian and some of the others. Steve, okay, last point on this, please, and then please let's get to some of the others.
And again, old material, not profitable without regulatory credits. Give me a break, Gordon. I'm not even going to bother responding to this. I've debunked it 4 trillion times. Not worth it. And just out of interest, you'll note the host is really trying to broaden this discussion beyond Tesla. Yet Gordon and Steve really just want to discuss the nuance of Tesla. Now, this is actually quite fascinating. It just goes to show what an interesting topic Tesla is and how, let's be honest, they're basically the only relevant name when it comes to electric vehicles today. It's not worth wasting the time, wasting your breath, even discussing some of these so-called competitors, because there's barely any meaningful competition whatsoever today, just a whole lot of talk.
Tesla's gross profitability is in the mid-20s. Virtually every other auto company is in the teens. The other thing, Tesla's been the leader. They're the first auto company to make every car a connected vehicle. They're the leader in what's called OTA, over-the-air services. Tesla's doing a lot of things that give them a cost advantage over the others. That combined with 50% growth annually, no one else is close. It's hard to make a strong case against Tesla.
But they grew sales by roughly 16,000 cars sequentially in Q2. That's like the flea on the back of an elephant for any other automaker. Their growth is actually slowing significantly. So when you talk about this growth, selling 16,000 incremental cars over a quarter is not significant growth. You know that if you know the auto industry.
All right, well, we understand all the points. I think everybody is pretty, I'm going to leave it here because I think that people that are watching our show are enjoying all the details and they can do some of their own research as well. But very valuable information, and there is no doubt when I said EVs are a hot topic, you guys proved me right. I'm so thankful to you both. Steve and Gordon, thank you.
Did we just hear Gordon, the class clown, the genius himself, suggest that Tesla's growth is slowing significantly, or am I hallucinating? I mean, do I even need to say anything else? Gordon, show me on this doll where Elon hurt you. Gordon, can you please show me where exactly on any of these charts we're seeing a significant slowdown in growth, keeping in mind that there is a little bit of lumpiness quarter over quarter. Looking at Tesla vehicle deliveries, looks like pretty strong growth to me. Back in 2017, we're looking at about 25,000 vehicles delivered in a single quarter. Now, 2021, we're almost 10 times that amount. Maybe revenue, is that where this growth is slowing? No, not really. Okay, maybe revenue and operating income. Oh no, that's right, we had some negative operating income there, and now we've had, 8 quarters of positive, maybe the net income? Oh no, same trend. What is it exactly that Gordon's talking about? Oh, my mistake. He's probably looking at the trailing 12-month data because that smooths things out. It's going to make it much more easy and obvious to identify the huge slowdown in growth. Wait, the significant slowdown in growth. Okay, here we are looking at the trailing 12-month data, which is obviously what Gordon was referencing because we couldn't see that in the quarter-by-quarter data, obviously. So let's have a look here. Vehicle deliveries. Can you guys point to the significant slowdown in growth? I'm not noticing it. Maybe he was talking about growth in operating cash flow. Free cash flow. Nope. What about net income? Oh, no, that's gone from negative to positive. Maybe adjusted EBITDA. Gordon, how high are you? And can I please have some of whatever you're smoking? Now, I'm actually beginning to wonder. Let me know in the comments below what you guys and girls think. Besides the mentally ill, self-hating, basement-dwelling adult virgins of Tesla Q, do you think there's actually anyone left on planet Earth who takes this guy seriously? The reason I ask is because there was a time, not that long ago, where people used to gobble up everything this guy had to say as if it was gospel and actually believe some of his ludicrous arguments. But I think they've been debunked so many times now and it's been proven wrong so many times that I'm really not sure if he has any credibility left whatsoever. Help me out, guys. What do you think? Is there anyone on Earth left who doesn't have some major mental issues who actually takes anything this guy has to say about Tesla seriously? Or is it more a case of pure entertainment value? Much like those who listen to some arguments from, say, a flat earther or a creationist who thinks the Earth's literally 6,000 years old. Let me know in the comments below. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.